If you're still spending hours sending paper quotes to your customers and getting ghosted, well, your home service business is going to suffer. We just sent out a high-ticket quote to one of our customers, and before we got back into our truck, it was already approved. And in this video, which we're including as a part of our Nexus Blueprint Series, we're going to share with you the systems that are necessary in order to not only send a professional-looking quote, but a quote that will always help you win over and over again. Let's party. So when I started SOS Garage Door Service, I was doing everything on paper for my customers. I would get a call, I would write down the lead, I would try to make sure that I got the spelling of the customer right, that I got the address right, and God forbid I didn't get the wrong phone number or wrong email. And of course, all of that trying to keep up in a notebook or a ledger took a lot of time. In addition to that, whenever I wanted to send out a quote, well, obviously I had to do that through a paper. And when you are considering all of the paper notes that you utilize on your day-to-day basis, trust me, things start to get convoluted. You start to lose pieces of paper, you start to lose quotes, you start to lose customer information. Aside from it being very daunting, it was monotonous, and I would say that I know I lost thousands of dollars just because I couldn't organize myself well with a paper system. And I can recall on occasion where the customer saw my frustration, working out all those details for them, and clearly they were thinking like, wow, this guy's system is pretty antiquated. He can't really get down my information. It's so ancient. Why doesn't he just update his system? Why doesn't he find a CRM? Granted, back in those days, the idea of a CRM was barely just coming out, but still there was just so much information that you had to capture and gather that it was just really hard to be able to organize everything, especially being a one-man show. Now, today, we don't have that problem because we utilize Jobber. And that's why in this Nexus Blueprint Series, I want to be able to provide you the winning strategy that's going to help you get those quotes out and get those customers the information that they need to make a sound decision. So I have my Jobber demo account, and this is a demo account, so I want to make sure that you understand that when you are dealing with a CRM like Jobber, they are willing to provide you so many options and so many features. So what you're seeing is not necessarily my specific account, but it mimics it to the T almost. So I just want to be able to express that so that way you know there's a transparency, you're not being fooled here. Jobber is definitely sponsoring our channel, and that doesn't necessarily mean that my methods are supreme, but at the very least I want to be able to provide you this blueprint so you can start winning today. So here we have our Jobber account. Again, we want to be able to start a winning quote. Now, before we get into this, let's just go ahead and create a client. And this is pretty simple. In our Jobber account, we're able to collect information about the client. We can do this in many ways. The way we like to do it is over the phone when we're talking with the customer. So we're talking to a homeowner, and we're going to get their name. We're going to talk to Mr. Jose Casa. Mr. Jose Casa, he's obviously not a part of a company, but clearly the Jobber platform will allow you to work with B2B customers as well. And then we're going to get his phone number, and of course we're going to put in the phone number 333-222-4444 and 4444. 4 fours. There we go. And you're given the option to be able to put down a main number, a work number, a mobile number. Most people have mobile numbers, so we're going to go ahead and put that there. Now this next portion clearly is going to be very important because we need to put in the email address, and it's coming up with all these different emails, but I'm going to put Jose Casa 1 at allmail, I don't even know if that's real, but allmail.com. The point is, when you are talking to the customer, you get your name, you get their name down, you get their contact information. The email is going to be super big. So keep into account that this is just the preliminary information. Let's say the customer called you from a specific lead source. Now you'll be able to annotate that in the actual Jobber app. So it could be an existing client, found you on Facebook, maybe a flyer, Google, Instagram, other referral, vehicle wrap, great information. If you're on a platform like Yelp, perhaps maybe you are on a different type of platform like, I don't know, YouTube. The point is that you can create a new lead source so that way you're able to track these customers as they start calling in. We're just going to say that this one came through Google, no big thing. Now, one of the main things that we want to highlight in this portion of the Nexus Blueprint series is when you're talking to a customer, you want to make sure that you're getting the right house number. And look, it's going to start bringing out information from local homes. Here we have 123 South Figueroa. You know what? That's not the area that we serve, but I'm just going to go ahead and put it on here because that's what popped up. The reality is that when you are working with your customer, they're giving you a lot of information, sensitive information, which they trust you with. So do not take that lightly and understand that at this specific moment is when customers are starting to build trust with you. When they start giving you that information, then you know that you have a really good shot of winning the job. If I have a customer who tells me, you know what, can't you just give me a price? Can't you just tell me over the phone how much it's going to cost for a new garage door spring or the replacement of my HVAC unit? I already know with that question that they do not trust me, that they don't have enough information. So one of the things that I tell them usually to get over that hurdle is that we definitely want to be able to help them with their circumstances. One of the ways that we do that is providing them a clear and concise quote. Say it with me, clear and concise. And so that way the customer understands that we are giving them tangible information, that they know that we are going to be the specific company that's going to work with them, and that we respect their privacy. So that's pretty big to keep into account as you are getting this information from your customer. At this point, we can just pretty much click save. So we have our customer save, and it gives you here, track whether your leads are coming in from word of mouth. Okay, yeah, definitely that's a good point. So save client, client save, what are we missing? Oh, you know what? It's not allowing the phone number, not allowing the phone number to be saved. So this number cannot receive text messages. Enter a valid phone number. That's interesting. Now that's not a big thing because we're going to go back into putting that number into Jobber. So I'm clicking that number again. Now we do want to send them phone messages, but the fact that this number does not exist and we're simply utilizing it as an example, this is what we're going to do. We're going to click receives messages off. Now you normally wouldn't do that when you are working with a specific customer. So when you get their phone number, make sure number one that they can receive messages. Therefore, it's got to be a cell phone. Pretty much, it's got to be a cell phone. Now, if it does receive text messages, great. You're going to leave that clicked right there in Jobber. But because of this specific example, we're going to click off of that. Now we're going to save the client, and it's going to give you some information where you want to like save it through Google and stuff like that. Not going to do that for purposes of this video, but boom, there we are. We have Joe Casa in our system. He's pretty much now set up so that way we are able to send him a winning quote. Now at this point, as we talk to Mr. Joe Casa, we're going to ask him, Mr. Casa, what sort of problem are you having? Can you explain to me what type of system you have? When did the problem start to exist? At this point, what you're doing is just gathering information about the customer. Now, this can be over the phone, this can be on site, this can be through a number of variables. The point is that gathering information is going to give you the ability to be able to write all this information down. Perhaps maybe you can even have like a little note section here in Jobber where you'll do that. See where it is right there? So there we have some internal notes. So we're going to leave a note and we're going to say, Mr. Joe needs a new spring. He has a 2-car door that has 2 springs. One spring is broken. So as we get that information there, we can save it. Now we have a specific note inside this client's information in Jobber. And as you notice here, he's actually a lead. So the fact that we have him as a lead is a good thing, because we know that this customer's relationship is just starting out, and therefore we want to treat him as best as we possibly can, or we want to treat him with high level of customer service, so they feel compelled that they want to start doing business with us. Now that we know that Joe does have a broken spring, we can do a number of things. Now, if we went home and we saw basically our dashboard like this, we know that we could easily start or send a professional quote. This would basically be like the first visit. So we have this dashboard that allows us to do that. In Jobber, it gives you like the first step scenario. Or if you're a little bit more seasoned with CRM, say you don't want to do any of this that you see on this page, you can click over to the dashboard, which shows you a number of different metrics, and you can kind of get some idea of where you want to start with regards to requests, quotes, jobs, things of that nature. Now, for simplicity, we're just going to go back to that page that we had mentioned. We're going to go first steps, and we're just going to click on new quote. Boom. Here we are in now the new quote section. And based on Mr. Joe Casa's need, he needs a spring. We're going to go in there and we're going to offer him a dual spring conversion, or dual spring. Actually, we'll go from torsion spring. There we go. Torsion spring replacement dual single to dual spring conversion. Okay, so here's the thing. Because I am a garage door contractor, I'm going to talk about my perspective of utilizing Jobber with my trade. So that basically means is that this is the system, the blueprint that I'm providing you if you are a garage door professional, but it's not limited to garage door professionals. In other words, if you're an electrician, an HVAC guy, if you are any trade, any home service business trade, Jobber is going to do the same for you, and you're going to be able to plug and play your systems that you might currently have that are on paper and just transfer them over to this, which is a great idea because you can literally just create templates of quotes to start, so that way you're not having to repeat this process over and over again. Now, before we get there, and we'll probably set that up for a future video, the idea is that when you take this information, you're going to see that there's going to be certain patterns from your workflow. And those patterns are what you want to identify so you can plug them into Jobber. That's how we've done it for SOS Garage Door Service, and trust me, we always win. It's crazy. Therefore, take this information and apply it to you. Run with it, and we definitely want to be able to help you. If you have questions, we'll have links in the description that will go into that, of course. But let's get back into now how this winning quote is going to be great information for Mr. Joe Casa. So now at this point, we can, boom, click Mr. Joe Casa. He is in our lead. We have his information right there. We know that this is the first quote that we're sending out to him, and it's also the first quote that we have within our system. Now, you could change that quote feature if you wanted to. You could change it to perhaps maybe 03 for the month, and then you can put 01. Or maybe we can put, I think it's only going to allow numbers. Yeah, so we're 03 and we can do 01. And so the number itself will allow you to be able to have special tracking for specific quotes that you have for your specific company. I don't think that's a light thing. I think it's important to have as much metrics as possible, and it's just one simple detail in the Jobber system, in the Jobber app, that you can utilize. This is good to mention as well that we are doing this off of a computer, a laptop. If you were doing this off of your phone, there would be different steps, but we're just going to focus on what you can do on your specific desktop, particularly if you are admin, or like myself, whenever I'm in the office, I'm scheduling the jobs, I've got my guys ready, I make sure that I send them the information, but I do all of this preliminary work when I'm getting the lead. Now, see where it says add a field? What could you add there? Well, there's a number of options that you can add for a custom field note, or perhaps maybe you want to put some information about the lead source. Again, there's just so much to put there. But let's continue to go on with regards to this winning quote. Now, in the introduction portion, what I like to do is I like to put a picture. So we're going to put a picture here of a spring. Now, why is this important? Well, customers, like every other human being, are visual people. So when we talk about springs, are we talking about extension springs? Are we talking about the TorqueMaster Plus spring? Are we talking about a galvanized spring? An oil-tempered spring? Who knows? But when you put a picture, you can be pretty specific. So here we have a picture of a galvanized torsion spring that we're offering our customer. And just so that way we can stay uniform, I'm going to copy the title of this quote and stick it right here where we had before. Now, the customer knows that this is a torsion spring replacement. We're converting a single spring to a dual spring system. Perhaps maybe you have a picture of a dual spring system on a garage door. Perhaps maybe if you're thinking about an electrical panel upgrade, right? Electrical panel upgrade. You have a picture of a new electrical panel versus the old. You could do a number of things in this portion of the quote. The possibilities are endless. And that's the beautiful thing about Jobber, because they give you so much customization. And so we have a lot of fun with this, with our specific system. And this is probably why we win a lot of jobs, because we give them options. We give our customers the options so they can not only look, but they can understand, okay, this is exactly what I'm getting. And that goes a long way, especially when at the very end they're looking at their little price tag. Now, for the description of this project, we're going to be just letting them know that the project details are as follows. We're going to do one, replace the current broken spring. Install, and we'll go to install and convert single spring to a dual spring system, or configuration, we should say. Configuration. And then 3, we're going to test and calibrate existing garage door operator with new garage door springs. Now, again, very specific to garage doors. The idea is that the project details is going to entail, it's going to offer information about the process. We're letting them know we're taking this off, we're putting this in, and by the time it's all done, we're going to calibrate, optimize everything so that it's in working order. All right, so that's good information for the customer. At this point, we're going into the product services. So this is important to know when you are specifically dealing with your trade and the services that you provide along with the products that work within your trade. So what does that mean? What did it say right there? Well, basically, it's product plus services plus pricing. So in Jobber, they're going to give you like some pre-loaded options, like a free assessment, example part 1, example part 2. What I like to do is I like to just make a new one from scratch. So I'm going to say here, dual spring replacement conversion. Now, you see where that little option or icon of that tab, create a new item? I want you to remember that right now, but we're going to go back to it, okay? In here, I'm going to put information on the springs. I'm going to say 2 galvanized torsion springs. I've spelled that wrong. Springs. And then we can put a size, right? We can put size 207, 1 3/4. We'll just put some 23s, right? We can say, we can put a lot of other information. We can put like IPPT, all that's specifically for garage door trades. This is where we could pause and think, what details from your specific trade, pool repair, HVAC, plumbing, what specific details can you put in there? Diameters of parts, lengths of specific parts, brand names of specific products, all that goes in here, right? And then at this point, if you're wanting to include, like say for example, you can do a parts and material quote. I don't advise doing that. The way we do it is we do lump sum quotes. So we have like a flat fee for everything. So what I usually put here is labor included as a lump sum. Scope of work. And then at this point, we can go into one, decommission, broken springs. And then 2, install new springs. 3, adjust garage door balance. 4, etc., etc. 5. Okay, so think here. This scope of work portion within the line item of your specific product service will be all of the steps, every single step. So this is where I think in a lot of ways most customers don't understand. Like when they say, hey, can I get a price on just doing this one thing? I need a price on springs. I need a price replacing this one thing. Well, yeah, there's a price for that. But the thing is just, well, there's so many steps that are involved. So Jobber allows you to stipulate or numerate those specific steps. And you have that right there within your app, which by the way, you can then save as a template. We'll do that right now. Create new item, boom. We're just going to create this new item where it has all of that information now stored. So whenever you want to go back and add a new spring, boom, there it is right there. Dual spring replacement conversion. It has all of the notes that we have previously saved by doing that step, basically just saving that. And you can even just add on to this. You could do dual spring replacement conversion. You could go torque master. And there's that feature again right there where you could click new item. Wow. So many options just within the Jobber app that is just going to help you win. It's really going to help you win. Now, we're at this point where we've done a lot of work for the customer. Like we've talked to them, we've visited them, we've done an assessment. In fact, I have a video on doing a garage door safety inspection, which can easily equate into an in-home inspection for any other trade service. You can check that out at the end of this video. But At this point, you've done a lot of work for the customer and you've gained their trust by doing this for them. So now, all of this stuff that you've done has to come with a price tag. I mean, this is a lot of work. This is time that we're investing into this customer, and we really haven't done anything to the job. So, what is the proper pricing for the work that you're offering your customer? That's going to depend up to you. That's going to depend up to how you do your workflow. Don't race down to the bottom though. So whatever that price is, you can now put it here as a unit price. It's one quantity that we're offering as a product and a service. And we're going to say that this product service is $799.99 for a high cycle spring. We could put those details. Amazing product, amazing service. We'll delete this one right here. And there's our total. If you're following right now, then you understand that that price tag is including the moment that your customer calls you and you get that lead, all of the time, attention, how you dedicate to their specific needs, their specific problem, what you're doing for them, all of this should be included in that. And I highlight pricing so much within Jobber because, again, putting the details of your work, highlighting the steps that will allow you to fix their problem, when they see all of that put together, they're going to understand, oh, that makes sense. I understand now why this is an $800 job. Even more importantly, in this client message portion, you can go into more detail and descriptions about why we were there, what their problem was, what their dream outcome is. And I wouldn't put any other information in that portion about the type of product or anything like that. I wouldn't do any of that. The only thing I would put in the client message is, we are going to keep you happy and safe. That's what that portion within the Jobber quote should be about. We're going to make this problem go away. We're going to give you the best service. We're going to keep you happy, safe. By the time it's all said and done, your life is going to be back to normal. You're not going to have to worry about that leaky faucet. You're not going to have to worry about your HVAC not getting cool enough for your home during the summer. This is so important when offering your client and your customer the option of, clearly getting their problem solved. And so super important. In the contract disclaimer, it's basically going to be like the installation agreement and the warranty terms. So make sure that you stipulate what is your warranty terms. So do you offer a 1-year warranty? Do you offer a 10-year warranty? Some offer lifetime warranties. Whatever that is, how your system works, all of that goes in there. And then at this point, we want to not only save the quote, but we want to save the quote and we want to email it to the customer. Now, you know how for Mr. Joe Casa, we had his email information? Look what happens when we click email or send as email. Boom. Now we have Mr. Joe Casa's email with a nice little blurb in there on thanking them for allowing us to quote this project, giving them the price, letting them know if there's any questions, and who to contact. Now, if you notice on this side right here where it says attachments, you see a little quote button. Include the quote. All of that great information that you have within the quoting system of Jobber, that's what you want to include. So you want to attach that. And mind you, you can attach any other file via email to the customer. So that could be like maybe a warranty page. It could easily be the pictures that you've taken on the job site or the pictures that the customer has sent to you. All that information is going to, again, just be tangible, valuable information for the customer. Now, this subject line can obviously be changed. You can definitely change it to quote from Santiago demo account, spring job upgrade. something fancy like that. Now, clearly in the message, it's kind of like pre-made for you. But if you wanted to change this message, if you just wanted to be on a first name basis, hey, Mr. Jose, thanks for, I wouldn't even say thanks. I would be like, what a pleasure to have met you today. We want to make your garage door system working, safe again. We have attached all of the details to make that happen in this quote. Click the button to learn more. Give them a call to action. And definitely take out that price. You can keep it in there. I like to take it out because my process is getting them through the funnel, getting them through our system, through the Nexus Blueprint system. And so, once you have all this information, you can usually copy yourself on this document. You can not copy yourself, do whatever you want. I like to copy myself specifically, or I like to copy this email to myself, so that way I know exactly what I told them. And then you're going to click send, and the customer gets it. And what they're basically going to see, and we're just gonna discard this changes. What they're basically going to see is this document right here, this beautiful document that's going to come out in this highly detailed page, a PDF that's going to talk about the scope of work. It's going to talk about the details of the project. It's going to give them the product. It's going to give them everything about the specific process, and of course, the price tag. I can't stress enough how Jobber has truly made our process, our system, flawless. When we utilize this specific workflow that we have shared with you, it has won us business time and time again. And I'm not going to say it's won 100 out of 100, but I can say it's won us at least 90 out of 100. And that's saying a lot. It's probably even closer to like 98. I mean, this is a pristine, very professional looking. This is a perfect way to be able to set yourself apart from the description that I shared with you earlier about a young garage door contractor that was trying to do everything on paper, trying to remember everything in his young mind without really not having a system. This is a system that if I would have had when I was younger, trust me, I would have probably been in a very different state a long time ago. But today that I'm utilizing it, it's just upped our game. So if you're frustrated and tired on having to write out all your quotes and you are ready to work with a CRM like Jobber, there's a link in the description where you can start today with a free trial. The link is below. Jobber will definitely up your game, and it's going to help you grow your business in a way that will surprise you. Now, granted, there are a number of things to take into account when you are working with a customer and planning on quoting them. And one of the things that I had mentioned earlier in this video is the fact that you want to provide them tangible information through a diagnostic safety consultation or a checklist of sorts. So in this next video, I want you to check out this video in this right here, where it will give you the step-by-step method to be able to set up your own checklist so you can start giving your customers value up front and you can start winning more jobs today. And because I want you to win, I have some free resources in the description below that will help you start or build or grow your home service business. So check that out as well, but check out that video for sure. As always, y'all stay safe.